Hello and welcome to this special all-sports edition of MHK All Day. I'm Javier Cordero. Coming up in this show, we'll take a look at the Wildcats from all angles. We'll check in with an all-conference women's basketball comeback story. We'll hang with Tang in the Ville and introduce you to the students behind the mics for the Wildcats in 2 languages. But first, a look at the youth movement on the men's basketball team this year.
I'm Cole Dutchendorf. K-State returned only 2 players from last year's Elite 8 men's basketball team, losing Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel to the NBA and many others to both the transfer portal and graduation. The vacancies left space for new faces to make contributions early in the season, and one player who has made the most of his opportunities is freshman Day-Day Ames.
Ames, who is from Chicago, is a part of a freshman class that was consensus top 35 across the country. Michaela Britch and RJ Jones, both 4-star recruits alongside Ames, have also seen playing time coming off of the bench, but it has been Ames who has had the most success. He has scored in double figures in 4 games, as well as adding at least 3 assists in 6 out of 7 games he has played in.
I'm very proud of him. You guys are seeing the results of a lot of hard work that we get to see every day. And so I'm really proud of him. And that it's always great when a kid works that hard and then it pays off, because we tell our guys all the time, hard work always pays off. You just don't know when.
Ames's playing style has electrified the Bramlage crowd both defensively and offensively.
I mean, as a true freshman, he looks like he has a lot of potential for the future.
One thing that Coach Tang has been impressed with is Ames's maturity level.
Man, he's not afraid of the moment either, and that's something that's really cool.
K-State will continue to rely on Ames's growth to help lead the team as they make their way into conference and eventually postseason play. In Manhattan, Cole Dutchendorf, MHK All Day.
I'm Carson Ackerman. Across college sports at Kansas State and the nation, fewer fans attend women's sports compared to men's. Despite being the highest-ranked team on campus this year, the K-State women's basketball team is receiving far lower attendance than their male counterpart. So what would it take to get more fans inside Bramlage?
The K-State women's basketball team is off to a great start and have been ranked in the top 15 in the nation. But the same as previous seasons, the games are seeing low attendance and students not getting involved.
No, I can't say that I've been to a women's basketball game before.
No, I've never been to a women's basketball game here.
I have never been to a game. I know that they are supposed to be really good, I think.
I don't know a whole lot about the women's basketball team here, actually.
I've never been to a K-State women's basketball game, but I'm going tomorrow, actually, for the first time.
Usually, when teams are winning, attendance increases, but it takes more than team success to get students into the arena.
I think it's just because they're going to both sets of games. So, if you're already going to all the men's games, it's kind of extra to go on top of that,
The time of day, because even for men's and women's basketball games, when they're in the weekday, in the middle of the day, I just kind of have homework to do and other stuff to do, and I just don't put that as my first priority.
I personally only go to basketball games for socializing. So if my friends aren't even going to the women's basketball games, I'm not going to go. I barely even go to the men's basketball games.
Although students are not going to every game, they are disappointed in the turnouts.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing because I feel like they should be supported just as much as the men because they work probably just as hard, if not harder.
They probably do deserve a little more of a crowd. I'm sure they work just as hard as the men's team.
While there are barriers to attendance, students believe more students and awareness would get them to games.
Maybe if they were advertised a little more, I could schedule it out, a few weeks in advance and then get some of the fellas to go. Probably a more hyped student section and just getting more people out there. It'd be a lot of fun. That would do it for me.
In Manhattan, Carson Ackerman, MHK All Day.
I'm Parker McGowan. Coach Jerome Tang was hired as the 25th Kansas State men's basketball head coach last year. As an approach to get students more involved and excited about the basketball program, Coach Tang and his staff came up with a production called Hang with Tang, giving students the opportunity to talk to the coach and ask him questions while sitting on his purple couch.
K-State family, we're in Aggieville. It's time to hang with Tang.
Second-year men's basketball head coach Jerome Tang is host of the famous series Hang with Tang, which gives students the opportunity to sit on a couch beside him and ask him any question they would like to be featured on the K-State Athletics social media pages.
I remember sitting literally right in this row here, and I don't know how we just like were brainstorming about it, and all of a sudden like this, I was like, oh well, like what if we did like, I was like, we have these purple couches, like what if we like brought a couch to campus, and it kind of just like flowed from there, and like the tagline, like it just like made way too much sense, and it was like super easy, but it like all just came together so easily.
The first season of Hang with Tang was so successful that they decided to renew it for a second season. One of K-State's biggest fans, junior Jeremiah Bellin, has been to every episode. He has made a rather close relationship with Tang through this.
Probably one of the biggest things that brings me back to Hang with Tang a lot is that he just is a very friendly type person. He wants to engage more with us as students and help us build our community more and more.
Coach Tang will continue his Hang with Tang episodes throughout the season. Be on the lookout for the purple couch if you would like to be a part of it. In Manhattan, Parker McGowan, MHK All Day.
K-State Athletics has enjoyed a very successful year. All that notoriety has helped out off the field as well. Christian Wright tells us how three-pointers and field goals are turning into increased student enrollment for the Wildcats.
From kicking the game-winning field goal in the Big 12 championship to going to the Elite Eight in the March Madness tournament, Kansas State University has had a great year in sports from 2022 to 2023. Student excitement has been at an all-time high on campus. Molly McGawkey is the Director of Admissions at Kansas State. She says the success on the court is possibly translating to students in the classroom.
I do think it has an effect, and it can have a positive effect, but it's really difficult to measure. So we had over 260 more new freshmen this year than we have had in the past, and that's huge for us because K-State has been in a bit of an enrollment decline.
The students are buzzing with the success of athletics in the past year. There has also been a rise in enrollment. William Cupp is a student at Kansas State.
I think it's made it more fun and exciting to go to college. So instead of just going to class and doing assignments, it's added some fun to the experience. Given that it's hard for many parts of K-State to even make money or break even, I think success of our sports teams can give a financial boost to these unprofitable parts of our campus.
Is it possibly leading to new enrollment? Time will tell. In Manhattan, Christian Wright, MHK All Day.
I'm Lizzie Franco. K-State students are getting lots of opportunities sideline reporting to showcase their skills. Chances like this are usually only for the pros, but at K-State, some student reporters' hard work is paying off.
K-State HGTV is known amongst other sports broadcasts to have young, talented sideline reporters. It is one of the only student-run programs in the country.
So it would be almost, 13 years now that we've been doing this with sideline reporters, and we've used undergraduate students, we've used graduate students, we have tryouts every couple years, and try and stick with one group and try and stagger them so that they're, not graduating at the same time, but that they have some experience under their belt.
I think something that we see across the university and with athletics as well is there's so many opportunities for students. K-State really focuses on giving students hands-on experience while they're in school, not only preparing them to be successful in the real world, but giving them real world experience as well. And I definitely don't take this work for granted. I see that, at other schools and in other organizations, people don't get opportunities like I have now until post-grad. So again, it's not something I take for granted.
This opportunity can lead to bigger things in their future.
Job has truly shown me what real-world experience can be and my potential as well. And it's also allowing me to put together a reel for future employers as only a sophomore in college, which is really, really cool as well.
So I think it benefits us a lot just because I get to shadow the ESPN reporter for football games. It just gives me a lot of experience before I actually go out and do it. If I wanted this job and I went to any other school, I feel like I would just be very unprepared if I wanted just to go to ESPN and be like, hey, I want to be a sideline reporter and just have no experience. So I feel like it gives me a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error because I do mess up sometimes, but I get a lot of good feedback from the broadcasting team.
Who knows? Maybe one day you'll see them at the Super Bowl. In Manhattan, Lizzie Franco, MHK All Day.
I'm Noah Birchman. The coronavirus pandemic impacted everything at Kansas State University.
COVID especially impacted the intramural program and even shut them down for close to 2 years. With numbers slowly increasing, coordinators are hopeful they can return to pre-pandemic numbers.
The intramural program at Kansas State University has been going strong for around 30 years. Many students participate in intramurals and use them as a getaway from the stresses of school.
I enjoy intramurals because it is easy to get away from my schoolwork and come to the rec and just be active. I also like how intramurals are not super competitive because I'm not a super competitive person, so I just like to have fun with them.
When the COVID-19 pandemic began, nobody knew what would happen to the intramural program. The effects were long-lasting.
The impact that COVID had on Kansas State intramurals was massive. We had to shut down our program for between a year and a half and 2 years. And if you think about that, all of our student workers are obviously students here on campus. And so shutting down for a year and a half, 2 years, a lot of those students graduated or they found a different job that obviously had hours for them to work through COVID.
Shutdown of the intramural program was tough on students as well.
It was really hard to not have intramurals during that time because I really enjoy being active, and so not being able to have the gym as like a safe space and a space to go when I needed to get away from schoolwork was really hard.
Since the pandemic, participation and student worker numbers have been down.
So basically all of our staff went and found a new job or they graduated. So when we came back from COVID, we were starting from ground zero from a staff perspective, even from a student body perspective.
Smith says the numbers are slowly increasing, and he is confident they can return to pre-pandemic numbers soon.
In Manhattan, Noah Birchman, MHK All Day.
Intramural sports teams weren't the only ones impacted by COVID-19. Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we have the inside scoop on the recent increase in numbers and success that the men's K-State lacrosse club has seen this year. That and more next.
Welcome back to MHK All Day. I'm Dawson Wagner. The Native American sport lacrosse has been played at Kansas State since the 1990s. When COVID hit, the club sport at Kansas State lost almost all of its players. Now, however, the team is experiencing a resurgence of membership and play.
All right, everybody get a shot on three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Everybody get a shot.
Shots, sticks, and championships. The K-State men's lacrosse club is coming off a historic season that ended with them as champions.
Let's go! Let's go!
After 34 years of making it to playoffs in the league, but not really 100% getting to the point where you got the trophy, we did that last year when nobody thought we would. So coming into that was definitely seeing the program just drastically change from day one to where we are now.
That drastic change partly being due to COVID. Just 2 years ago, the men's lacrosse club only had 6 players.
You see the elevation of what we went through, and you see the frustration of things that maybe behind the scenes maybe came on the field. And at the end of the day, the product speaks for itself. You got to go through hard times to come out, obviously, a different team and as individuals. That takes time.
Time and players. The resurgence in membership over the last 2 years for K-State men's lacrosse has been dramatic.
Like I said, there was only 6 guys, and then we got 12. And then my junior year, we had a roster of 35 guys. And then this year, we're sitting at another 30. And then next year, we're looking at a possible 40 with recruiting guys from out of state.
So with membership on the rise and a fresh championship under their belt, K-State men's lacrosse is gearing up for what they plan to make another historic season.
Your program is really growing, proud of that. You guys are really going to be special. To hear those things from other coaches, administration, around town, those are things you dream of, You don't feel like a club program at that point. And I think that's where I think the championship really changed me, and I think it changed everybody else.
In Manhattan, Dawson Wagner, MHK All Day.
I'm Austin Schultz.
As sports seasons change, the students and staff of the marching band get ready for one of their busiest times of the year. Along with a physical change in their routine, the Wildcat band switches mindsets to send off the football team, welcome the basketball team, and survive the transition from one to the other.
From Bill Snyder Family Stadium to Bramlage Coliseum, football season is coming to a close and basketball season is just tipping off. However, the athletes are not the only Kansas State students dealing with this changeover, as the marching band gets ready to transition from the gridiron to the hardwood. Percussionist Jasper Valad is one of the 400 plus student musicians in the Wildcat band.
I'm on the snare line, so I'm doing a lot of rudimental marching stuff, and you have to go from that brain into the drum set brain.
After months of perfecting their halftime routines and hitting their marks, the band must now adapt for multiple games a week in the fast pace of basketball. But Assistant Director Dr. Zachary Deininger mentions the different echoes in each stadium as a problem the band must face as well.
The echo is very different. But the big thing for bands, whether they're inside or outside, is to watch the conductor. And that sounds dumb and obvious. But what we say all the time is you have to go by what you see and not by what you hear.
Another challenge the band faces as the seasons change is time. The band travels to a handful of games during the football season, including a trip to KU if the Sunflower Showdown is held in Lawrence, and a postseason bowl game. During football season, students are gone for a day or two at most before they are back in Manhattan. On the contrary, the Cat Band travels to multiple tournaments for both men's and women's basketball throughout the season, sometimes finding out their destination mere days before they hit the road.
The stress of the spring is, we find out on Selection Sunday, and then there's a game on maybe Thursday. And so coordinating all of that travel, and then if you win games, you're coordinating back-to-back-to-back weeks. And sometimes you're doing that for both the men's and the women's.
Basketball or football, indoor or outdoor, one thing is for sure. The pride of Wildcat Land always brings the energy to help the Wildcats and the K-State faithful to a victory.
From Manhattan, Austin Schultz, MHK All Day.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up, we'll look at how young multilingual broadcasters are expanding the Wildcats audience.
Last season, K-State sold out their last 8 conference games. This season, the Cats have sold out 3 games in the matter of a day. Around 8,000 student passes have been sold. But after the December 2nd game against North Alabama, Jerome Tang came out to address the lack of attendance and challenge the fans to show up.
Just calling the students out to go to the basketball games, I think it's just a really great way to bring the students together and the K-State community together.
On his first day as head coach, Jerome Tang mentioned forming deep relationships with students, former players, alumni, and Wildcat fans everywhere. To keep that promise, he has been active in the community, doing things like attending philanthropy events, watching games in Aggieville, and can even be seen doing the Wabash in the student section after games.
It's always nice to know that somebody that's on TV, that's recognized by many people, that you can reach out to him for help at any time or for any advice, really. So it's really great to have that.
Coach Tang showing up to our philanthropy event meant a lot to the fraternity and to us. It proved that he was a lot more than just a coach. Being in addition to this university has been really good for us so far, and it proves that he cares about us, and it gives us more encouragement to go support his team.
Coach Tang, he's a really personable dude. You could tell that he really cares about not only his players, but everybody around. He makes sure that he takes the time to check in on everybody, makes sure that everybody's okay. He'll ask you about your day. He'll talk to you like a regular person, he's a really cool dude.
Tang's call for support has the Octagon of Doom filled once again. Students are showing up not just for the Wildcats, but to support Coach Tang and all he does. In Manhattan, Javier Cordero, MHK All Day.
I'm John Grove. Many young sports broadcasters in the industry have a desire to make their mark on their career. But a duo of Spanish-language broadcasters are finding ways to defy expectations and leaving an incredible impact on an entire community.
For many Wildcat fans, it's just another Saturday filled with K-State football. However, for JB Cardenas, it's another chance to make his presence known as the Spanish voice of the Wildcats.
Always everybody loves a good touchdown call.
Aterrizaje, Kansas State! Touchdown, Wildcats!
When you have that big diversity and that big of a community, I think that the Spanish-speaking audience deserves to have a transmission, deserves to have an audio broadcast that is fully in Spanish, and apart from those permanent community members that are going to be part of Kansas State for a long time that speak Spanish, and they want to have that kind of availability. So this isn't something just for the next couple years. This is something that we want to continue to harvest and continue to foster for Kansas State as a whole.
Seated to his right is the color Javier Cordero, who has established a good working relationship with JP.
Been a great help. We've honestly, like when I was first starting, I was kind of nervous, but we just got really familiar. We got to become friends, and now it's not really like a call. It's more of just like us having a conversation over football. So it's become very fun, and I really enjoy what I'm doing and really getting to know JP. It really helped me just kind of ease into everything, realize this is just something fun, and to really just be in the moment.
Tacleos y entra en un espacio y está en la zona de anotación. Es touchdown, Wildcats.
Reporting from a Little Apple, John Grove, MHK All Day.
That'll do it for this all-sports edition of MHK All Day. I'm Javier Cordero. For everyone here at Kansas State University, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on MHK All Day.